Time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Hope I get away with it. Oh, da doo-dah day.
Hello, I'm Dan Hollifield. Welcome to Last Man Standing. This promises to be probably one of the shortest shows I've ever done because apparently I'm the only person on the planet still awake. So rather than ramble on by myself for however long I manage a monologue, we may just call it quits really, really early tonight. Don't know. I know there are people out there watching. I know there are people that watch regularly, and they don't watch Stupid O'Clock, but they watch me. This is just more of the same, but still, um, these things that happen. Oh, Chris might show up. That'll be fine. Uh, just gotta wait for him to get home from work. I'll try and ramble on until then. Carrie is also watching. Um, hey, um, I don't know how interesting I can be on my own, but I do manage to keep the attention of the people that actually read the stuff I write. So I do have hope. Um, we'll ramble on. Pardon me. Yeah, it's Stupid O'Clock was a lot of fun. Even though Joe Dog, thank God his health is better. Thank God Donna's health is better. His wife Donna's health is better. The other Donna we know, her health is not suffering. So we're damn glad of that. Um, but Uncle Carl and Aunt Donna have been herded to bed by their cats, and I do know that feeling. If I didn't have the door closed, the dog would be telling me it's time to go to bed the way she does Lindsay at like dark 30. and not a reasonable bedtime at night. Um, just, oh, pets get into these habits, you know. They are unable to read clocks, but they are able to read light levels. So when it starts getting dark, they want to go to bed. Doesn't matter if it's 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, or if you're closer to the Arctic Circle, midnight and the sun's still shining. When they sense it's time to go to bed, it's time to go to bed for them, and they want their humans to join them for companionship and cuddling and everything else. That is not a bad thing. It's just sometimes you wish they get used to daylight savings time, or, even if they don't have thumbs, be able to read a clock, because there have been times when the German Shepherd has decided it was my bedtime, and I'm going, it's only 8 o'clock. I'm going to be awake until 2 a.m. What? No, no, no. Do you need to go outside? No, you don't. Okay. Um, sorry. You know where the bed is. I'll be there when I get there. All right? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Oh my goodness, yes, yes, I will indeed. Um, hello, Dawn. Thank you
Hello.
for being here. Um,
Yes. Okay.
uh, hang
Mhm.
on just a minute. I've got, all right. If this
I'm
works,
having odd. Oh.
it'll be a great thing. It'll be an absolutely great thing.
Mhm.
Um, if it doesn't, I will look like an idiot. But I'm used to that. I don't care.
Clever.
Mm, and you feeling better? Better. Um, you got surgery, so you getting prepared or what?
It's not.
What the? What on earth just happened? All right, I don't know what's going on. Um, Dawn just vanished. My screen went to black. Maybe the power blipped. I don't know. Um, let me see what I can do here. Um, I don't know how to get back to. Um, okay, this has never happened before. I know performance issues. Everybody has problems sooner or later. Um, it may have been a blip on my end, Dawn. I do not know. I do not know. Um, I'm trying to figure this out. Um, I don't want to end the show and then come back, but let me see if there's anything in settings. Ah, all right. I think we may have figured something out here. Dawn, meet R. Sterling, and
Hello.
one of the
Rod.
most interesting people I know online.
Oh,
And
stop. But go on.
no, I meant Dawn, but you'll do.
Well, I'm interesting in another way. Hold on here, because now
let me let me. I don't know what the hell happened just then.
was that so? That was you, not me.
I don't know. I don't know. Um, the channel did not close. All I did was go, oh, Messenger, boom. Let's get somebody else in here, and all of a sudden, everything went away, and I was totally
Oh,
alone in the universe. I mean, I felt like
I
Gamera at the end of time or something. Oh, that's a good
I look.
that's a good
I
movie
took
title.
a drink of my water, put the cat back on. As I was talking, looked back up, and there was everything was gone. I'm like, oh,
I do not think that was I don't think it was my fault. I don't think it was anyone's fault. I think that was the internet not being able to handle the awesomeness that is here right now.
Well, let's just see if
Mister
it works. If I have my
Sterling.
that big delay that StreamYard always tries to give me.
Well, we will cope because I have been on the big delay before, so
It's rough. Yeah.
it happens. It happens. We know how to deal with it. So
We cussed it
uh,
out, flipped the bird a couple times, threw a
roasted it and
tantrum.
ate it with ranch sauce a couple of times. Yes. Um,
So to finish the question that you had asked, Dan, that it's just basically they go in, they numb part of my back, and then they burn the nerve with a laser. So that's it. I make it sound
that
so
doesn't sound an
nonchalant.
awful lot better, Dawn. I mean, seriously. Oh, we're gonna use the same weapons we use on Godzilla on Dawn's back, so she feels better.
Well, she should be
Hopefully.
honored then, because if it's good enough for Godzilla,
It's yeah.
Exactly. Now,
See, when I do surgery, it's called you hacked my neck off and they put dead people in me. That's surgery.
not going there, but I appreciate the sentiment. Um, that's okay. Now, would you please tell everybody who you are, how we knew each other, and why the hell you decided to come on this particular show, Mr. Sterling?
just a giant Mr. Dan Hollifield fanboy, and just been pestering him constantly to let me on the stream, and kept turning me down. But I finally broke him, and he allowed me to come in tonight.
That'll be the frickin' day. And thank you very much for the advert for my book that you did on the video you did. Was it yesterday or today? I forget.
Would have been Tuesday.
Could have been. I'm I'm currently on vacation, so days just kind of blend together. Um, but that was, oh my God, my wife walked in while that was playing, and she saw the book cover. She goes, "Oh, oh, oh!" And I'm going, honey, please. I'm trying to have a moment here, because that was about the same reaction I had too. Uh, thank you so very much. I
Oh,
hope
my
you
absolute
enjoy the
pleasure.
book.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
looking forward to reading it.
I know you will enjoy the biography of Tarzan by Philip Jose Farmer, because I've got a copy of that one. I've been reading it for years.
Hmm.
As I told you, there's a copy of another book he did that is the same sort of pseudo genealogy of Doc Savage, and it turns out Tarzan and Doc Savage are actually cousins.
Hmm.
So and so is everybody else in classic pulp literature, according to Farmer, who, hey, he did an entirely scholarly work several times and connected all this and wrote a whole bunch of his own stuff that is really, really good to read. So, hey, you will really enjoy that. And the H.G. Wells book. I think I checked out that particular one out of my elementary school library when I was in fourth grade.
Mm.
Had the same books in it, but was a very, very earlier edition. It had everything that was in that one, Time Machine, Food of the Gods, um, War of the Worlds, etc., etc. And I, I was very young then, but I checked that one out at the same time I checked out what was it? It was a Jules Verne. I think it was 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Mm.
And
Good
I,
company, the two.
yeah, exactly. I had been used to reading um, Tom Swift Jr., um, lots of adventure stories that my folks had bought for me. Um, Everything I could lay my hands on that had anything to do with futurism or outer space or adventure. And um, they actually found me one time in a Kmart in Knoxville, Tennessee, sitting in front of a TV set that was on display, watching Johnny Quest.
Mm.
And they go, "Okay, now we know where to find you once we lose you while we're in the store." It was the Invisible Monster episode, the Energy Monster episode. That's still one of my favorites because it was the first Johnny Quest I ever saw.
See, they would have found me in the toy department. That's where I would have been.
That was the first place they would look for me, but unfortunately, I was a little bit advanced for my time. Hey, it was Knoxville. Dad worked at Oak Ridge. I'd been exposed to nuclear radiation. Um, these things, they happen.
You mean that whole extra appendage thing you told me about in private?
There's not an extra. It's just Dawn.
I didn't say anything.
I know, I know, but the look of "I wanted to" was written all over your face in
I was going to say you could
Times
write a
New Roman.
Cinemax movie off that look.
Maybe
Hey.
maybe one of those late night channels that was kind of scrambled at midnight. I don't know. Um,
Oh, but you had asked me to introduce myself, and then I didn't. I started babbling nonsense. But yeah, so
That's
I'm
what this show
RS.
does.
So I'm RS Sterling. I'm primarily consider myself a writer, but I guess the thing that I'm most known for now is my little YouTube channel show, which is the Atomic Snack Bar, which covers classic sci-fi, sword and sorcery, and westerns, and all aspects of those things: collectibles, toys, books, etc.
and I would really love for you to meet a friend of mine, Skunk, who is as much an authority on horror movies as you are on sci-fi, because I think y'all would hit it off fantastically.
Oh, if I had a nickel for every time someone went and introduced me to a skunk, though, that's
Hmm,
You know what though? This skunk is well worth the nickel.
Kyle is a really nice guy, um, and I'm proud that my wife and I actually kind of pseudo adopted him. Uh, as a teenager, and now he's way beyond his teens. So that tells you how long that's been. But that's what LibertyCon does for you. You start going to conventions in Chattanooga, you wind up with
Adopted adult
friends in
children.
strange places. Yeah, adopting children and being mentors. And thank God he didn't need much mentoring from me because I am not worthy. Um, I'm just this weird old guy that has a gift
Did
of
you just
banter.
did you just say an old god of Appalachia? Okay, that's what I thought you said.
So I heard.
All right, all right. Yes, I
Where's
did write
Nick?
that one. Where's Nick? Where's Nick? Yes, I did write that one. Nick Tockert, one of our artist friends, had been listening to Old Gods of Appalachia, which is a another YouTube channel that has a lot of stuff that strikes me as being vaguely Cthulhu mythos, and he swears up and down I should be on that show. So I wrote a little short story, and it was very well received by all my friends. It has yet to see publication, may never see publication, but it's neither here nor there. Um, Basically, I described a place I grew up with grew up in East Tennessee, just to the foothills of the Smoky Mountains, as if I were someone supernatural that just happened to like the area. And Dawn, you want to take it from there? Because I know.
I don't know where you want me to take it. I've read it, and I read it in your voice, and I pictured you the entire time I was reading it as the main character.
I tried to do it as southern as I possibly could, which is not. I've got this Knoxville nuclear built accent normally, but at times I can dip into something that's a little bit. Well, Dolly Parton would be comfortable with listening to me talk. I'm just saying. Uh, and yeah, that's from my childhood. Um, I don't know
I
why.
I think I'm the one that instigated Nick to draw the picture of you as the old god of old words are hard. Old god of Appalachia. I think I'm the one that convinced him or made the comment to do that. He's like, woo!
And then I looked at the drawing that he was doing, and I went ahead and wrote the story. Yeah,
And it looked
the
like you. The drawing then looked like you.
well,
Because
a
he thinks you.
very heroic version of me. But then you would expect Odin to be heroic, so um, there you go. Oh, spoiler alert!
Um,
Oh heavens!
Who's Odin? I thought God was named Dan. No.
Old Dan, old
Oh,
Dan,
old Dan.
Odin. Yes, that was the punchline to the story. Yeah. Um, Actually, the story was about this guy that lived up on the ridge. Nobody knew much about him. The sheriff knew where he lived, but nobody else did. Anybody that went up there snooping around got chased down by a couple of very
Puppies.
fierce dogs.
They were puppies.
They were, yeah, they were. And there was one time when a little girl went out to get was it blackberries or something for her
Yeah.
granny to make a pie, and got caught in a snowstorm. And he showed up at their home carrying her and told them, look, she's going to be fine. I gave her a little bit of medicine that's going to help her heal. Now, if she shows any interest in herb lore later on, I'll be glad to teach her everything I know. Until then, y'all be careful. Raise the girl right. And I won't interrupt you anymore. And by the way, Missy, your apple pie is fit for the gods. And I know what I'm talking about. So I'll see y'all later. And that was pretty much the end of the story.
Okay, because it felt like we were headed back in that Cinemax direction again.
It would have been an epic film, believe me. But most of it would have been an old guy in a long coat and big heavy boots walking around with a couple of dogs going, I know she's around here somewhere. Just got, hey, y'all find her. I'll turn her back home. And, aside from that, it would have been pretty much actionless, except for the part when some of the locals tried to find out where he was living, and they got up there, and the dogs went a little bit security on them.
They went a little bit camera on them.
Oh, I'll send you the link sometime. It's online, but it's not public.
So was he wearing an eye patch? That's the question.
Did have the hat pulled down over one eye. Do not know whether there was an eye patch involved. There's a lot of gray area in this particular thing, but yeah, with the denouement that I used, eye patch probably would have been there. Just nobody noticed. Oh, he did have a way of flirting with the ladies too.
Oh, and you try to say that isn't you.
Hey, I've already had to clear that with my wife once tonight.
Uh-oh. Are you guys here?
Yeah. Are you?
Okay. I don't know. I can't see. All of a sudden, my screen went black, but I can't see because I don't have my glasses on. I was cleaning them.
My wife is pissed. She's interrupting the local electromagnetic spectrum. So, then again, she could be asleep and just the dog is interrupting the local and electromagnetic. Excuse me, words are there. I wish I could use them. The dog may be interrupting the internet right now. I don't know why. Probably because the cat's inside and she wants to chase the cat, and the cat's going, excuse me, really? Again? We're going to do this. Cat's pretty chill. And that's just the one that we let inside. There are several more outside. Some outside the chain link fence, some inside the chain link fence, trying to protect them from the local coyotes. Went out one time, pack of coyotes were in the backyard. I walked out there with a Colt 45 and a headlamp set to red, and they didn't even know I was there until the wind changed. And then they looked up and they go, we'll be back sometime later. And scattered. Now, in my backyard, there are deer, there are pheasant, there are quail, There are red foxes, which are really, really beautiful. There are uh, raccoons and possums and armadillos. And just, oh, one of my neighbors used to have a koi pond. Used to.
Mhm.
They went out one day and found the koi pond was empty and there were a lot of brown bear footprints all around their pond.
Okay.
So they went, not going to restock the pond anytime soon. Um, Wildlife is a thing out here. I've got one of my best friends from high school gets hired out to go and hunt feral pigs on somebody else's property. He loves hunting. He's really good at it. And he's actually published a few things on Facebook where he's managed to run off an entire, um, what do you call a collective of pigs? A Congress? Um, anyway,
I'm not going to say what I really want to say to that.
a sci-fi convention. Now he had enough ham to feed a family of 16 for about 2 years in the back of his pickup truck, and they were big pigs. So you if he let the smaller ones go, he just run them off. So got something to do the next year. Um, but that's the thing you do when you're in the South and you're raised in this hunting mentality. I mean, I was raised that way, but I'm too soft-hearted to do it myself. Um, got the skills, just don't have the desire.
Yeah, I was always the same way.
Um, I'm much better at fishing than I am at hunting. That's more like stalking with cover. Because you're in a boat, they're not until they are. And they taste good with breading and several different kinds of sauces, actually, depending on which fish it is.
And they rarely fight back and kill you, so that's
Oh,
always a plus.
you have never seen an alligator gar. Believe me, this is like the Godzilla of fish. And these things are about the size of your leg, and they have teeth like, I think T-Rex would be jealous and filing a restraining order, but thankfully they don't have legs, so they just swim, but they are really, really fierce looking, and they are probably one of the more dangerous freshwater fish out there. Now, I mean, this is on the par with if you were in saltwater, sharks, but much, much smaller, like a teeny tiny shark. But there are actually sharks that can live in fresh water. That scares the piss out of me because
Yeah, they're called snapping turtles. No.
no, that's a total. Gamma is a totally different animal. Yeah. No,
I'm swimming in a lake.
snapping turtles around here, they would give Gamma a good run for his money, except they can't fly yet.
Yes.
I was swimming in a lake one time, and I was like, about 2 weeks ago, I watched a snapping turtle run into this lake, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna get out of the lake now. So I was up in Minnesota, and I'm like, didn't think about that one, did I?
And that's when you buy a little wading pool and you content yourself with that because the wildlife is a little bit too wild.
Yeah, I think I just
Um,
saw too many movies at too young an age that I just have no interest and really have never had an interest in going into lakes.
yeah, yeah,
I grew up in Minnesota, so that's the land of 10,000 lakes. Yeah, that just happens.
really.
I
That's
mean,
part of
ranging
living.
from supernatural killers to just debris, all the way to, as Dan was talking about, dangerous psycho fish. Just not worth it.
No, not really. No. Um, Believe me, if I go to a swimming pool, I look all around first before I ever get in. Um, I've seen entirely too many movies and an episode of Wednesday, so I don't want any wildlife around me when I'm swimming. And yes,
Well,
that
and this
includes
is you
cute
we're
blondes
talking
and
about.
bikinis.
I was gonna say
Um,
this is you we're talking about too. You'd probably end up in a creature from the Black Lagoon type situation.
you know, I'd probably try and make a friend of him, but that's just me.
I could have sworn you were about to say you were going to make a pass at him. I was like, "Wow, this is going in a weird direction."
No, I don't make passes at males. Um,
What was the
I'm
Lake
I'm just
Placid?
not
Is that
built
where?
that way.
So it's not the
Wait, isn't it?
fish part that bothers you; it's the
Well, yeah. You show me a creaturette of the Black Lagoon, and I might romance her a little bit, but
just a little bit.
just a little, just to make her feel good. I mean, and Chris is here to save my ass just at the right time. Um,
Hello.
Hey, Chris.
Sorry,
Careful, Dan's on one tonight.
I had to reset my router, so
Not a problem. I have to do that constantly.
Same here.
most of the
Yeah.
time it's not too bad. But
Well,
tonight, for some reason,
I have the world's worst internet, as you well know, and you have made fun of me before.
hey, I have it too. I commiserate with you.
You got Alltel?
I got Windstream, no shit.
Windstream, yes, Alltel, Windstream. Hmm. Those people, I do not understand how they are still in business.
Hmm.
They
Well,
changed the password to my email. They want me to go to the webmail and request to change my password.
hmm.
The instructions will show up in an email. In the email for the thing that will not open.
Your hands disappearing. You're becoming a god of Appalachia.
Oh no, this is almost Russian in its stupidity here.
Were you
There are
listening earlier, Chris, before you got on here? That we were teasing about being a god of Appalachia?
Yes,
Okay.
it was shortly after that my internet decided to screw up.
that was probably my fault. I'm sorry.
Well, here's the thing, Dan.
You asked for snow.
Alltel decided they wanted to go to wireless, so they spun off their local phone service to the smaller areas that the big companies didn't want and changed the name to Windstream.
Uh-huh.
And people were so fed up with Windstream and their internet that they decided to change the name of their internet to Kinetic to try and get a better reputation and image the way Comcast did with Xfinity.
Comcrap.
Yeah, basically,
This is Comcrap.
those are my only two choices here. Kinetic, Windstream, Alltel, or Comcrap, which I already know is not good. and they don't even have wires to get to me. They'd have to use Windstream's wires.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Joe Dog has the best internet in the world. And the thing is, when the other telecom companies found out what they were doing and discovered it, they had laws wrote up to prevent that from happening anywhere else.
Because why not? Hey,
Yeah.
Chris, do you know this guy above me?
No, but I've heard a little bit about him.
Yeah, I've been in the
Introductions,
chat a
Dan.
ton of
Come on.
times.
I have spoken highly of him before. I mean, one of my favorite
Yeah.
people.
From what I understand, he's pretty good with science fiction, and
I've seen a few.
he enjoyed the Toy Store adventures where you were watching Johnny Quest.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the very first time I actually caught one of these, it was Dan, Chris, and I want to say Donna. And again, just between Dan and Chris, it was just nice hearing those Southern accents again.
Yeah. Well, we
And,
tend to ramble on about music.
yeah, more than likely, it degenerated into a discussion about all kinds of music, not necessarily Southern, because Chris and I have a very cosmopolitan view of what music is good.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it's got a good beat and you can't dance to it, we'll still listen to it. So,
Yeah, we're pretty understanding and widespread of our taste of music.
hell,
There's some things we don't care for, but for the most part, we'll try and give it a listen at least.
this
But when
guy
it comes
even
to
thinks my
accents, my
music
accent
is
even
good.
Your
It's
music
not
is
bad,
good.
Dan. It's not bad at all.
Do we not listen to your music 2 nights a week while Joey B and I are broadcasting?
Yes, and I am very grateful.
And we do
And
that because we enjoy it.
And don't worry, Dan.
I'm giving you the Viv look.
When the time comes and I do download it, I'll pay full price.
that won't be very expensive. I mean, it's only 50 cents a song, except for the one with Stephanie Osborne's
Yeah.
music, which I have to give her a royalty because
Yep.
I demanded that I pay her for the inspiration. She wanted me to undercut her work because it inspired me. No, that ain't gonna happen.
No.
No, honey, I was raised better than that.
Yeah, and she needs all the support she can get because she's
Yeah,
still on a
especially now, yeah.
from Daryl down.
Our friend Stephanie Osborne is one of the best science fiction writers that we know, and her husband of many years has just recently passed away, and she's dealing with that. And
She's a real live rocket scientist.
Yep.
she is.
She worked console on shuttle missions at NASA.
Wow.
And she's a very interesting lecturer at the conventions we go to.
I was going to say she's such a down to earth person, and I realized what I was going to say as I was going to say it. And I went,
well,
yeah.
her object was to bring the astronauts back down to Earth safely. Yes.
I know,
The
that's why I
great
said
thing
as soon as
about the great thing about her presentations is, while she does use some big words, most of the stuff is spoken in a way that you can understand if you don't know much about the subject matter.
she says it in a context that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah, like I said,
and she has this down to earth voice.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
down to
No, seriously. Stephanie is one of those people that at the very base end of it, she communicates very well. No matter what your experience or your education or your level of interest is, she
Yeah.
can find a way to connect with you and bring you into the conversation. And no matter how difficult the topic is, she finds a way to put it in words that everybody can relate to.
And
She's that good.
she's highly respected among other authors and other scientists. And
Oh, she writes some of the best adventure sci-fi that I have ever read in my life.
and she likes cats.
yes. And
Just saying.
are you familiar with Skinwalker Ranch? Rocket City Rednecks? Travis Taylor? He's a rocket scientist, and he has fun, and she co-wrote stuff with him.
And
me and Dan are fortunate. We know several rocket scientists.
we know a bunch. We know a bunch of folks. Yeah, Liz, Stephanie, Doc Travis. I mean, seriously. We've actually I've actually sat at an autograph table next to Larry Niven and Jerry Purnell, and I've actually had my pronunciation of certain words that I didn't know how to say corrected by Jerry Purnell. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
And I'm going, oh God, I've made it. I've made it. I made it. I've actually attracted the attention of giants.
Well, that's what I'm thinking right now. So,
Yeah,
my thoughts exactly.
Now,
but when Richie's still fanboys when he's admitted, Dan, he's still fanboys.
Yeah.
Because he had read Aphelion for how long, and all of a sudden he put it all together, and he was like,
well, Nick Tucker did too.
And I'm still embarrassed by that because I'm just me. But to find out that two of my favorite people actually read my magazine online years before they ever met me.
Yep.
And after they met me, they did not go, oh, this is not what I signed up for.
I was thinking that too.
So have you met Richie in real life yet, Dan?
I have not met Richie in real life. I have not met Nick in real life yet.
So Hallowcon's going to be huge.
Yep.
For you two.
Yep.
And
just imagining Richie who's 6'4" going, oh my god, it's Dan, oh my god, it's Dan, like a little kid being 6'4".
he's gonna treat me like I'm Santa Claus, and I'm going, dude, I'm just this writer, you know.
Yep.
But no, and what I have trouble adjusting to is that Joe Dog, in his infinite lack of wisdom, has decreed that I'm going to be a guest author next year. I'm going.
It's this year now.
Yeah, it is this year now. Oh, it's still January. I'm still writing last year's date on my checks. Oh God, that's going to be so weird. It's going to be so. I'm going to be up there with Stephanie and Liz and. Oh my God, I don't know how many people. I've got their books on my shelves. How am I supposed to react to this?
You'll be fine.
I hope so. I mean,
trust me, he's fine. He's going to be sandwiched in between Stephanie and Ellie.
Ooh.
Oh, he'll be fine. Or maybe
Yeah.
not. Especially since Lindsay will be in the vendor room.
Lindsay will be in the vendor room trying to sell my books as well as her stuff on the vending table because, she really.
I just was thinking about this, and this is to me cracked me up. I have met Joe Dog and John and Chris and Dan and a lot of the guys the people that live in the southeast portions of the
Mhm.
state. I've never met Nick or Rich or Joe, and they live the next state over.
hmm
This is convention life, actually.
Well, we talked up Hallowcon so much. She's like, I need to go experience this. And it didn't hurt that Donna and Carl helped along too.
Yeah, they only live a couple hours from me, so got to their house and they drove me down there. So
You should have been there to see Dawn the first time she ever experienced one of the great institutions of Southern life,
Oh, Waffle House?
Waffle House.
Yep.
Darn Skippy.
it was actually referred to as popping Dawn's cherry at the Waffle House. There was 7 of us that went for a group of 7 to
Yep.
go to the Waffle House.
Which is not far from the host hotel. So
Oh no, nothing is far from the host hotel. That's the thing. That's the thing about Dalton. Everything is right there.
But it's what happened. It's what happened at the Waffle House.
yeah, you got John.
Yeah.
And he hasn't forgotten.
No, and I won't let him forget because I deserve whatever comeuppance I get. So they put us in 2 booths, and I was sitting with my back to the other booth, and I turned around and I dropped an ice cube down the back of John's shirt, and he was just about ready to go. I might take a picture, and Donna and Carl were sitting across from him, and goes, and all of a sudden he just, yeah, I opened the floodgates on that war.
Did it continue on in the Waffle House, or is it an ongoing battle?
It was
No, he's just been threatening revenge ever since. So
It-
it'll
it
probably
will-
happen.
It will be continued this year around Halloween.
Mhm.
So
and I deserve whatever comeuppance I got because I fired the shot. I just asked him not to put me in the hospital.
Oh, and my apologies. What do you like to go by? Or Sterling or
Rob is fine.
Rob? Okay.
Yeah, I just basically every variation of my name that I could find was already taken by an author who was already published. So I was just
Yeah.
trying to find some variation of it that wasn't in use by a published author. So
Mhm.
R.S. Sterling was just the one I found, and it
Okay.
sounds all fancy
That's
pants.
fine.
Yeah.
I totally get it. I just I didn't catch your name completely, and I'm like I caught the Sterling part. I wasn't sure about the others, so I like to ask. So I try to be courteous and polite.
Well, I appreciate that. But yeah,
Uh,
it's just Rob's fine. Yeah.
But I
Yeah,
want the explanation on clown pants.
Oh well, you don't know what's going on down there, so let's just leave it at that.
Film at 3 a.m.
I don't think even CNN is going to cover that one. They're going to find something in the Middle East that's more important.
Just don't wear an outfit around Crystal June if she's at Hallowcon and you're there,
Oh yeah, she's got this fear
because
of
she will
clowns.
kick you where it hurts.
I prefer not to be kicked anywhere. I kind of find anywhere being
Yeah,
kicked hurts.
she
So.
does not like clowns one bit.
Okay, so let me
Um,
ask some questions here. I got some,
Sure,
like I
sure.
said, being kind of new
Okay.
to the Holliverse, So, Chris, are you the subject of the cult of Chris thing I keep hearing about?
Yes.
Okay, that's about you. Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Isn't he cute?
Adorable.
My wife thinks so. Every girl I know thinks so. Yeah. And he's going, Oh, fuck.
I mean,
So
right up there
Donna, the
with
one
the
that was on here.
right up there with
Oh,
the
go ahead.
what'd you call her? The creaturette from the Black Lagoon. Yeah. I mean,
Debatable, but yeah.
It started out that I don't even remember how it all started. It started with me and Donna.
Yeah, it started with you.
Yeah.
okay,
You
so
and
question number
Donna.
2 then is everyone writers? Are you two both writers as well?
No,
Okay.
Chris doesn't write. Dawn is a publicist.
Oh, okay.
That's what you guys keep telling me, anyways.
Well, that's the job you're doing. So
Yeah.
if the shoe fits, kick yourself with it.
Yeah, you
I'm
only
I'm vice chair of Hallowcon, so
Okay.
and this was originally done to number one for us to hang out when we had those dark times a few years ago when the world kind of shut down, so we could hang out and all that. It was also a way for Joe to figure out how he could do a virtual Hallowcon that year because we weren't going to be able to do a live one. And everything just kind of steamrolled after that because
And
we just do it now because we're so used to doing it. We don't know what to do otherwise.
Hey, we just love hanging out with each other. That's all it is.
And
And
it's a great way.
we're so far apart.
Mhm.
I mean, seriously, it's what 3 hours between Chris and I.
Mhm.
It's what 11 hours between Dawn and I,
Mhm.
if not more.
I think so, 'cause I think it's about 9 between Witzman Dude and Donna to you, and I'm another 2 hours from there.
Yeah.
So I've got at my age, I've got like a 3, maybe 4, maybe at best 5 hour driving range from where I live
Mhm.
to whatever I go to,
Yeah.
and that includes my family reunion, which I would love to be able to go back to, but that's getting one of those cases where it's only grandchildren showing up because we've lost so many of the
Mhm.
original generations. There's like my mom, one of
Mhm.
her brothers, and several in-laws,
Yeah.
and that's it, and the kids. So uh, I remember times when we went to my grandmother's when she was still alive. There'd be 100 people there, and some of them I didn't know from Adam. I met an entire bluegrass band that is
Mhm.
evidently cousins of mine
Mhm.
and famous, and they blew my mind because amateur musician that I am, that was fantastic. Um, don't have that skill, but give me a computer and a music program that I can type stuff into, and I can do stuff that people seem to enjoy that I never realized why. But
Is that
I'm
opening music to this show one of yours?
to this show, yes.
Yeah. I like
And
that piece.
actually, the opening music to Stupid O'Clock is mine as well.
Yep.
Never seen that one.
It's kind of okay. Last Man Standing is originally the after party for Stupid O'Clock.
Yeah, the after show.
Yeah, we went through the entire show. Everything is just mad, chaotic, random, everything, and we had this after show that didn't get recorded, and I'm going, okay, I'm going to be up late anyway. Why don't I just host the after show and we'll just go from there? And that's what Last Man Standing turned into. Last Man Standing is my running joke about conventions that I go to, where evidently I took a nap earlier in the day, so I was frequently the only one up and walking around
Been
after
there.
everyone else went to bed.
Yeah.
And it seemed like a good theme for doing this. Um,
Yep.
and it fit. I mean, it fits me rather well.
Yeah.
Um,
And Joe can't last
hey,
past 11.
hey, we're not going to go there. His wife may protest.
That hesitation, Chris, cost you.
Sorry. Well,
But
I am
still,
tired
that
because
was that
I
was
did work
really good.
today. Um,
We're basically just a bunch of friends that love hanging out
yeah.
and started hanging out when the pandemic appeared on a horizon
Yeah.
and interrupted everything we wanted to do for the next 2 years. So, Stupid O'Clock, Joe Dog started up.
Mm-hmm.
Used to do the after show that was not recorded. I went, hey, I can do this, and started hosting the after show for Stupid O'Clock, and gave it a name, and I won't say a purpose, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's basically just folks hanging out, having fun, and shooting shit, and just
For anybody that didn't want the fun to end at Stupid O'Clock and those that couldn't make Stupid O'Clock, hey, here's you an alternative or an
really.
addition, depending on what applied to you.
I was gonna
So
say too, with Dan's music, you can also hear it on most Monday and Wednesday nights during Behind the Code and Burning Is Love.
Yeah.
Always promote.
Yeah.
That is a show
yes,
by a gentleman named Mr. Joe Bachman, who does
Yeah.
indiecd.org, which is an independent creator directory. So on Monday night, he does Behind the Code, and that's where he sets up new clients and everything. And he actually shows them how to set, how he's setting them up.
Yeah.
And then he also does wood burning. So then he does that on Wednesday nights. Well,
Wednesdays.
so he was having trouble, keeping up with the comments and everything. So then he asked if I could come on and read comments as he's doing the stuff.
Yeah.
So I kind of have become the co-host of that, but we always play Dan's background music when we're working on
Mhm.
stuff. So
Yeah, Joe has Joe Bachman, not Joe Dog, but Joe Bachman.
Yeah.
Because believe me, Joe Dog is not going to spend an extra dollar if he doesn't have to. Joe Bachman's actually bought a few of my albums that are on
Yeah.
Bandcamp and plays them incessantly. And I'm going, oh, this is so gratifying to my tiny little ego. Um,
it should be gratifying.
well, it is. And you know what's going to be even more gratifying is when Mike Jimmy finishes doing his
Yeah.
animated movie. He's already asked me to do the soundtrack, and
Yeah.
I've done the opening sequence, which is all he needed at the time. Now he's going through and he's trying to animate all the rest of it. And when I finally see a completed copy,
Mhm.
I'm going to have to devote at least 3 weekends to doing a soundtrack. And that makes me sound like somebody that used to work for Doctor Who. But no, um, it's just his work is so awesome. I am proud to
Yeah.
be part of it, and in my own small way because he's
It's
doing all
unique
the
too.
animation. Um, some of our friends are doing the voice acting. Um, it's just uh, I really don't know. Dawn, do you know how to describe it? I don't. Chris, I don't know how
It's
to describe
unique.
It's a fantasy world, a very organic fantasy world.
Yeah.
It's got creatures that we've never seen, but they're not so far gone that you're going, oh, what is that? One gentleman is a six-legged.
Mhm.
Oh, what is he? Six-legged nymph, not nympho. Just I can't remember what he is, but there's just these different creatures, and it's the land of
He's a-
the
It's called the World of Korra,
life on
Yeah.
Korra.
or Life on Korra. Yeah.
Nick's character is a manic depressive six-legged creature who sleeps a lot.
And has Alzheimer's.
Here's
Which
The
I can
thing-
relate to.
Mike
But,
Jimmy
yeah.
found us. He's a creative type who lives in the Netherlands. So
Has he been on
That-
this show?
He has.
yes,
Because I
He
remember Beard, right?
Redhead,
Red hair, beard, yes.
yeah,
long hair. Mhm.
Yeah,
Just
I
got
saw him
married,
one
just
time.
had a kid.
Mhm.
yeah.
One of the nicest folks that ever walked the planet. And he's got interests in so many things. I mean, seriously, we could carry on conversations about not only my music but other music
Mhm.
and animation in general and stuff that he grew up with and just
Plus, he
you know,
talks about conventions and events that happen over there that we would never know about.
we have no experience with and will never have any experience with because it's expensive to fly to Europe.
He was
And
going to try to come to Hallowcon last year,
Mhm.
and there was a few things that just worked against him on it. And then he found out that Luz was pregnant. But they are still planning on sometime in the future coming over here and hoping that they can meet a bunch of us.
and we look forward to it really because
Yeah.
he's good folks. That's
He's good at drawing. He's good at coloring and inking. I mean,
They did the 24-hour comic book. They're going to try to do an entire comic book in 24 hours. Inking and
basically
lettering and coloring and drawing. And the two people that were supposed to go with it, they had to do, there's supposed to be 4 total. They had one of their parents passed away. So they had to cancel it, but they decided to go and try to do it yet with just the 2 of them, him and his girlfriend at the time. Didn't quite make it to 24 hours, but the really cool part was that in this world, he has done a font for the alphabet, and those that were supporting him through that, there's signs that were drawn into different scenes, and he put our names on those signs. Nobody else knows what they say, but it's our names on those signs for supporting him, and it's like, that is so cool.
indeed, yeah. So basically, he's a comic book artist that branched out into animation because that was the next step in bringing this creation to life. Somewhat like Dr. Frankenstein going, "Oh, it lives," and
Santa's time.
we're just oh, that's another thing. That's another thing. That's a reference to
Brian
a
K.
novel
Morris.
written by a friend of ours, Brian K. Morris, who is one of the reasons why we actually got together to do this. He's one of the, I suppose you'd call him a godfather of internet publicizing your work.
Yeah,
So
he is the one that says always promote.
And one of the nicest people you'll ever meet, and his wife is just
Yep.
absolutely adorable. I don't
And
know
the
why
head of
you
Rising
like
Tide
them, but,
Publications.
we go wide and deep in here. And there's so many influences, there's so many references, there are so many people that we know that turn out to be, in their own way, movers and shakers of the independent publishing movement.
Mm.
And we support comic book artists, fine art artists, writers, independent publishers. Oh my God, how would you describe Michaela? I mean, seriously,
Author, editor. She has
Yep.
her own Michaela J. Books Limited Liability Corporation, even. So she kind of just does a little of all of that, and
well, I was going more for ultimately unhinged lady you really want to know.
she's actually. I met her, and that's how I met you guys all through her.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
met her at a QuadCon, and I bought her books, and I was like, "These are really good books." Found out she was local, and went, "I need the fourth book," because by the time I read the first three books, she had released the fourth book, and she's like, "Oh, okay, I can get that to you." And we've just been friends since.
No,
What is QuadCon?
You best qualified to answer that one, Dawn.
What was it?
What is
What is
QuadCon?
QuadCon?
QuadCon. It's it was started actually in Quad Cities, like Davenport, Iowa area,
Mhm.
and it has just grown to basically be all of the Midwest. And since he called it QuadCon, he just kept it as that because that was what people related the name for. Now he's Minnesota, Iowa, Illinois, maybe some Wisconsin. I think it's a little bit in Nebraska. So it's a convention, and it's usually they have a show almost every weekend, year round.
Do they have anything in the Dakotas?
I don't remember. Of course, I just threw the schedule from 2 years ago away last night because why would I?
If they
I don't.
don't, they will.
So where are you located out of, if I may ask?
Florida.
Okay.
Yeah. Small town in
Oh.
Florida.
You are down there by the folks that do Legend of the Traveling TARDIS,
Mhm.
which is what I watch on Tuesday nights. But it's very Doctor Who oriented. But still, if you're in that fandom, it's a very excellent program to peruse. And actually, I've made a lot of friends on the folks that are on the panel there. And I'm not on the show, but I'm in the chats. So, it's just one of those things where, oh, Dan's here. We're doing good. I'm going, no, I'm awake.
We're doing good then.
I know.
And the dog is scratching on the door wanting to come in. And I know better than to let her in because she needs to tell Lindsay she's got to go outside, which is about the only reason. No, the only reason she's scratching at the door is because this deer-sized German Shepherd wants me to come to bed, and I'm not Carl and Donna. I don't obey the directorate of
The feline or the canine overlords.
No. I've got stuff I've got to do. So
There's my two overlords are over there.
Yeah, Rob, I
But
know
yeah.
some artists from that live in Florida and author I know that lives in Florida.
There's a huge fandom community down there.
Yeah.
There really is.
Yeah, I lived in LA, Hollywood to be exact, for a long time, probably 15 years.
Oh wow.
And just a couple of years ago, that's just tired of it. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do the opposite. So just went from LA to just a small little town in Florida.
Same climate, different crowd.
Well,
that's definitely TV propaganda right there.
mm,
LA is not fun in the sun all the time like they try to make it seem. Like I was
no.
actually cold most of the time.
Really?
I mean, most
That's surprising.
even in July, the nights were usually around between 50 and 60. And I like a nice warm night, so I needed to get back to the South.
Well, interestingly enough, the film industry started out in Hollywood, Florida, but it rained too much there for their liking.
Mm.
So eventually they moved out to Hollywood, California,
Oh.
where it's a little drier there. They have periods of rain, but that's usually in the winter months.
Yeah, not terribly often, Yeah, like you could actually see the Hollywood sign from my front porch there, which was kind of neat. But Hollywood's a bit slummy. Again, another thing, don't believe what you see on TV. It's a little dirty.
Well, it's like any other place. It's got its good points and bad points. If you know where to look, you can find the good points. If you've been there a while, you figure out where the bad parts are.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and I was actually instrumental into prompting you into exploring the music of Frank Zappa.
Yeah, I started. I did.
You have my abject apologies. Frank is not to everybody's taste, and if you don't have an open mind, there are a lot of things that Frank has done musically that are going to trip all your breakers. But the man had a PhD in music before we ever heard his name. So he would write some of the stuff out as sheet music and hand it to his band and go, "Y'all figure it out." And they did.
Well, I'm a big Barnes and Barnes fan. And so it's an easy transition, I think, going from Barnes and Barnes to Frank Zappa, because though they don't really have the instrumentality, I guess you'd say, of Frank Zappa, they have definitely have the wackiness and the craziness and the all over the place.
There was another influence on Frank that some fans did not enjoy, but Frank actually was pretty cool with it. Captain Beefheart.
Oh yeah.
And that the things that they did together were very much Zappa, but very much Beefheart. And the synergy that they had was unique. And for a 1970s college student like I was at the time, was going, is this avant-garde? Because I don't know whether or not I understand the meaning of those words, but this is definitely not Leonard Skinner, okay?
I do like me some Skinner, though.
Oh, yeah, I do too. I think Give Me 3 Steps is one of the better songs.
Okay, well here, check this. Let me run this by you. So I maintain that even though it's not my favorite song, I maintain that Freebird is the greatest song ever written. Even though it's not my favorite. Like that's the song that if aliens landed and they were like, we have to hear the perfect example of Earth music. Freebird's the song I would play them.
The guitar harmonies in that song are
amazing.
And I mean, it builds and builds, and I mean, I know some people say it's overplayed, but you know what? Sometimes things are played for a reason, and that song, that's the reason.
I do believe the best thing they have done was Ballad of Curtis Lowe.
That's a good one too.
And that one was the one that helped a lot of my admittedly rather incandescent redneck friends actually start to value black people, which in the 60s and the 70s goes a long damn way, because equal rights movement did a lot, but music seems to have done a little bit of a bump to keep things going. And there are bands still today that are doing the same damn thing. And
Music is one of those things that doesn't matter. It brings people together. It's a bridge that's unlike any other.
that is very well put. Thank you, Dawn. You're
Yeah,
exactly
and
right. Yeah, I've heard philosophers stumble across trying to say something that well.
Hmm.
That was great.
I was
I didn't
actually
trip over
reading.
words.
I was reading an interview with the guitar player just last week, actually, and I found this quite interesting. The final, I guess, original member of Skinner died,
Mhm.
and they
Yeah.
decided to continue forward. And of course, people are giving them a really hard time, saying, "Oh, they're just a cover band now," and this and that. But like the guitar player they were interviewing has been in the band something like 21 years. And the guy singing for him, the little brother, has been in the band for like 30 something years. I hardly consider that a cover band myself.
well, here's the thing: Ricky Medlock was originally in Leonard Skinner. He left it to form Blackfoot.
True.
You ever heard Train Train and a couple of their songs? I think
Mhm.
Highway Song's another one of their songs. He had a successful career with that. He went back to the band, and the rule that they kind of went by was there had to be 2 original band members for them to continue on. Well, after
After the plane
I think it was
crash.
Billy Powell, the keyboard player. After he passed away, Gary Rossington and Ricky Medlock were the only 2 original members. Now he left, but he came back, so he's technically still an original member because he was there when they formed. But I think Gary told them, because he knew he was dying. He's like, I want y'all to continue on after me.
Right.
And they were having fun playing music. And Johnny is Ronnie's younger brother, and the middle brother's in 38 Special.
That I didn't know. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Ronnie, Donnie, and Johnny. You can see the theme going on there.
It's a southern thing.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing about 38 Special is their lead singer for a long time, Don Barnes, left the band for a brief period, but originally he was caught trying to steal their equipment.
Oh.
He could play guitar a little bit and he could sing. So they eventually had him in the band. Because
I need
him
his
and,
amp, but
yeah, it was interesting how that stuff works out. But
38 Special, so I'm 2 years to the day apart from each other, which was kind of weird.
yeah, and Joe Dog posted a video, shared a video where they were talking about songs that turned 50 years old this year.
I've got to interrupt and say this, Rob. Don't ever click on any video that Joe Dog posts because it's probably a Rickroll, because that's just the practical joker that he is.
Well, this wasn't one by him. It was another post that he shared. But Sweet Home Alabama turns 50 years old.
Wow.
Hooked on a Feeling turns 50 years old this year.
Oh,
That's a good one, too.
Hughes Corporation, Rock the Boat, turns 50 years old this year.
Mm.
Carl Douglas's Kung Fu Fighting turns 50 years old this year.
Excellent. Excellent.
So there were some good songs that came out. Band on the Run by Wings turned 50 years old this year.
Oh, there's got to be a couple of Grand Funk Railroad songs in there.
Well, they didn't mention it, but it was just a brief.
Okay, question for the panel. Everyone
Okay.
across the board. Favorite decade for rock? Just rock.
'70s.
Can I split them?
That was when I was a teenager. That was when I was in the marching band. That was when we played so many wonderful. I mean, we actually played Carlos Santana songs in the marching band, as well as Chicago. And God, tell me, Chicago songs are
the
not
sheet
difficult
music.
for a marching band to play.
Mhm.
I have the sheet music for marching band for 25 or 6 to 4. Anyways,
Oh, so you're the only other one that has a copy of that besides me. Oh,
Okay,
God.
Chris, you were saying?
God, I don't know though.
You
It's
wanted to
got to be
split?
70s or 80s, but I don't know.
Yeah,
Like Chris
Chris,
is saying, but
you wanted to split it into.
Yeah, I would like to go like 75 to 86.
Okay.
That's kind of my ideal range because
for rock, for actual rock.
I mean, not just rock, just music in general. Because I grew up listening to a station that played everything.
Yeah.
This was before they started going into commercial specialization. I would hear Hall & Oates, Eagles, Steve Miller Band, Commodores, Kenny Rogers, Dolly Parton, ZZ Top, Clearance Clearwater Revival, Three Dog Night, all that stuff. So,
But big, like CCR's big stuff, that was pre-75 though, wasn't it?
yeah,
so that's what I mean. It's really hard.
I think Down on the Corner was one of their later hits. I love that one.
That is a great song.
Oh, now you get me and Chris talking about music. You're gonna go down memory lane here.
Boy, life.
You want to see Dan? Do you want to see Dan give me a dirty look? Hey Dan, I saw Alice Cooper in concert in '98.
I love you. I hate you.
Why would that get a dirty look?
Because he's never seen Alice Cooper.
I have yet to see Alice Cooper actually live. I have seen
the opening
recordings of Alice Cooper, but
the opening bands were Dokken, Warrant, and Slaughter.
In '98.
Uh-huh.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
But then I've also seen Maiden twice, and I've seen.
That would have been the last original lineup of Dokken.
I
should have had Pilson and Lynch and Mick Brown all in it with him.
You see, this is why I love these
I was
folks.
dehydrated by the time Dokken came out. I don't remember much of the Dokken set.
See, now you are speaking my language because '80s guy right here as far as rock.
Oh,
so
that's where I was getting stuck because I'm like,
see, I go
that right there.
Top, '80s is number one, and I'd probably go '60s for number two, rock wise. Now '70s I like to pop, but rock wise it's '80s and then '60s.
Well, you got to keep in mind, I was heavily influenced by MTV when they actually played music.
Yes.
Well, so was I.
I actually got to see Adamant and the Romantics in Atlanta in a very small theater where I was the oldest person that wasn't on stage besides the security guards.
Mhm.
I mean, I was surrounded by teenage girls, and thankfully they did know all the words, but so did I. And they looked around at this old guy and going, "Oh my God!" And I'm right on up there. Actually, Adamant and I share a birthday. He is 3 years older than I am.
Oh, he's
We
also planning on touring this year.
we also share a birthday with Godzilla.
Good company. So I've never actually really gotten into Adamant's music, but I like him as an actor. He played the main bad guy in one of my favorite post-apocalypse films, World Gone Wild, and he is so creepy and evil. He plays the leader of this religious cult. Fantastic. Dude could act. I don't know why he didn't go further with it.
Because he
gonna
was
say because they
concentrating
both
on his
did.
music.
Because what, Don? I missed it.
I said they both said so I'm just saying because they both said
Well,
No.
you need to check out his video for Goody Two Shoes because
I've
it's
seen
got
I've seen that
Carolyn
video.
Monroe
Yeah.
from the Hammer
Yep.
film.
Oh wow. I haven't seen it probably since I was a kid. Wow, Caroline Monroe, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic.
She's the one with the glasses and the reporter that's following him around.
Okay.
Oh
if
Lord,
you have a chance to see, okay, MTV Classics plays I Want My 80s, and they still do it's not called Hairbangers Ball, it's called Metal Mayhem. If you get a chance to watch those, they play a lot of those good ones. I got rickrolled yesterday. But anyways.
Speaking of, let me see. I don't know if this will even show up on the I took a screen cap or I took a picture of an episode of Metal Mayhem years back. Let me see if I can show it to you. It was such a good I know this is some fascinating live streaming right here, but
hey,
yeah, I have
we have
about
people looking up stuff all the time. I mean, seriously, once you've sat through John walking us around Berlin at the time the wall fell, I mean, seriously, that's some serious history right there. But he shows us streets.
can you see that? What that is?
Yeah.
Yeah, quite Metal Mayhem. There's a looks like a female there. I'm not sure.
Bette Midler.
Bette Midler. Oh,
they just messed up on the programming. So,
and what is it?
It was an episode of Metal Mayhem, or it was supposed to be an episode of Metal Mayhem, but it was playing Bette Midler. So I just thought that was so funny.
Oh God!
Yeah.
Can you imagine her singing the Rose?
Now I have a theory about.
Oh no! She would have been singing stuff like
Wind
the
Beneath
Sophie
My
Tucker
Wings
jokes that she did on one of her albums.
She probably
that
would have
is
sung Wind
that is
Beneath My
absolutely
Wings.
hilarious right there. If that didn't pull you through puberty, I don't know what would. But Bette
to kind of go
Midler,
back to what
Bette Midler telling jokes about stuff that happened when she was barely conceived, and doing it historically correct, and
you know, at one point in time, she was involved with Peter Egert.
No, I didn't. Wouldn't surprise me, but no, I didn't.
Yeah, he was known as he was the other guy with Tim Matheson in Animal House.
Okay. God.
That's what I just said, Animal House guy.
Yeah.
I would love to get Tim Matheson's autograph, but I don't know that they would let me anywhere near him with a Johnny Quest DVD pack. I mean, seriously. Tim has had an amazing career. And it's gone from when he was a child doing Johnny Quest to an adult to doing a Mel Brooks movie and everything in between and still further. I mean,
he wasn't quite as successful as Kurt Russell, but he's probably had almost as long of a career as him.
My favorite actor right there.
I remember I remember Kurt Russell being a guest star on Lost in
It's in
Space.
space.
Mm.
First season. Yeah, still black and
Mhm.
white.
Yes. And it's one of those things where I'm going, I've seen this guy in Disney movies, but he was older, and no, that didn't happen. That was just a
Mhm.
false memory because I remembered seeing him in lots and lots of Disney movies.
So you hit me with a
First
double
time I
right there,
remember
Dan,
seeing him
because
was
that's.
Overboard.
Oh, what was that, Don? Sorry.
The first time I remember seeing him was Overboard.
Mm.
Oh, that's one of my
Wow.
favorites. But I was gonna say you hit me with a double there because it's my favorite actor on my
Mhm.
all-time favorite sci-fi property.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Now if they, all due respect to Jonathan Harris, if they had not gone to the adventures of Will, Dr. Smith, and the robot,
Yeah.
that series might have gone on longer than some of the soap operas that are still going on today.
Hmm.
Maybe. But Jonathan Harris did voice Lucifer in the original Battlestar Galactica series.
Yes, I remember that. I remember that. Matter of fact, anything that he did voice acting for after Lost in Space, still, I mean, I recognize the voice. It's it's almost the same par with recognizing Tim Curry doing voice acting in cartoons.
Mhm.
So
I
another
mean,
60s fun TV fact. I don't know if you know, but Batman 66. You know,
Mhm.
it was canceled, but it
Mhm.
was saved last minute. Another network decided, hey, we'll pick it up, and so it was going to get another season, but
Mhm.
the other studio had torn down all the sets,
Mhm.
and so
yep.
they were like, oh well, never mind. We don't want to pay to build them again, and so we
Mhm.
lost out on that fourth season because the
Yeah.
sets have been torn down.
Well, if you remember, some of the Batcave sets actually showed up inside the Jupiter 2 on Lost in Space.
Hmm.
Their engine reactor was
Hmm.
actually, uh, if it was not originated there and then reused in Batman 66, then the other way around. But their their engine reactor was prominent in lots of episodes of Batman 66.
Mm.
That's another great
Um,
show too. Oh, boy.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Um, oh, um, how much do you remember about the Invaders?
I don't think I know that one.
British
Oh,
one, wasn't it?
no. This was American. It was a Quinn Martin production.
Mm.
It was put out by the same folks that did um, FBI agent Erskine of the
Mhm.
FBI.
Mhm.
Um, and it was one of those, if it weren't science fiction, it would be a modern day,
Mhm.
not soap opera, but damn close. Uh, Invaders is one of those things where um, I get the feeling that George Powell was watching and
Hmm.
Jerry Anderson was watching.
Mhm.
So a lot of the same elements, plot wise, showed up in things like uh, Captain Scarlet and a couple of George Powell movies.
I'm watching
Um,
Space 1999 as we speak. Well, not
hey,
as we speak, but presently, I'm watching Space 1999.
one of the
When you're not on live stream.
Right.
one of the jokes in my college sci-fi group was to say that Space 1999 was the first full-sized wooden puppets that Jerry Anderson ever did because
Oh,
the acting was a bit stiff,
Just a
but
bit.
But,
Really, Mark? You even think Martin Landau was stiff? Because he's pretty emotional.
Yeah. Well, both
His
Martin,
movement was stiff.
both Martin and Barbara were outstanding in their roles and everything they've done. I mean, going back to the original versions of Mission Impossible on TV, those were. I mean, you could not find better actors to do what they were. The scripts called for them to do. It's just I don't think Jerry ever got the hang of directing living people, which kind of put the show at a disadvantage. And yet, still, with the design work that went into it, one of the greatest lines one of my college friends ever came up with was holding up a reproduction of the Space 1999 ray gun and go, "Eat staples, alien!" Click, click, click. We ate that up back in the 70s. I'm sorry, but that was just one of those things. You either had to be there, or it had to be a cultural reference you were able to grasp. But this was Space 1999 is right up there with Doctor Who. Cardboard sets, masterpiece theater acting. And everybody knows how much of a Doctor Who fan I am. So
yeah,
let me take 3 steps here to quote something else and get another beer.
Just to let you guys know, Bad Company's Ready for Love was 1974, which would make it 50 years old.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
okay, well,
Lord.
jumping back a wee bit, Dawn, a favorite 80s band, and then for you as well, Chris.
Ooh. That I just say yes whenever somebody says favorite something.
Okay.
Because I just like so much stuff across the spectrum and everything else. So,
well, Yes did survive, and we're very, very cross generations there.
Well, no, I didn't mean it. Yes, I'm just saying yes. I didn't mean the band.
Yeah,
yes,
yes is in everything. 80s.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But I did like yes too. But you know, I don't know. I just.
Well,
I did. When I was younger, I listened to a lot of the metal, like 80s hair metal. So I guess if we went into there, it would just be, I don't know. Favorite though, I like now, and as I'm older now in my 40s, I've seen
older.
What was that laugh? That was for you two laughing. But I was.
I'm just smiling. I'm not laughing.
You were both. I heard you both laugh. I've seen Iron Maiden now twice, and so I do like Iron Maiden. Oh, what's your favorite, Chris? I gotta think on this, and I'll never answer the questions that I don't know.
It's hard to say just one because there were so many that I did like.
Okay, let's say top 3 rock.
Okay, if you're just doing mainstream rock, no metal.
Well, we can be metal, but I'm just, of the rock and I mean like not pop or anything like that. Just
okay,
rock and metal.
Here's the thing. Journey is my favorite band of all time. And because more than just the deeper you dive into it, it's way more than the big hits that everybody knows.
Weren't they a 70s band though, or did they start?
Well, they were 70s and 80s.
They were really massive on MTV, so that makes them all the way into the 90s.
Well, here's the thing. Neil Schon, when he was 16 years old, got asked to go on tour with Eric Clapton and Carlos Santana. He went on tour with Carlos Santana because the members of Eric Clapton's band's like, man, you don't even have a driver's license. We don't need that aggravation. And Greg Raleigh's like, yeah, I'll pick him up. So Journey was formed from Greg Raleigh and Neil Sean leaving Santana and getting Ross Valerie and a couple other players. And it started out kind of as a progressive rock jazz fusion thing. And they didn't really have a vocalist. And they were on the verge of losing their record deal when somebody sent them a demo of Steve Perry. So he joined the band, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
But
they ruled MTV back in the day.
Well, MTV didn't have a lot of videos, and they were one of the few that they did. They actually,
I mean, all the way into the 90s. I mean, everything they did, MTV went, oh, Journey, yes, we'll play that extensively over and over again every 5 minutes.
MTV actually filmed their Live in Houston DVD video that they did. They actually were there at the concert filming it for television.
Now, by no means was I putting them down, because that voice, I mean, seriously, if I could write something that needed a modern rock opera singer, that would be the dude.
Here's an interesting side note. Neil Sean actually did side projects as well. One of the ones he did was called HSAS. Now, the H stood for Hagar. The first S stood for Sean. The first A, or the only A, the A stood for Kenny Aronson, who was a noted bass player. I think he's been in Grand Funk Railroad and a few other bands over the years. And Michael Shreve, the drummer from Santana. I saw an interview with Sammy Hagar where he's like, man, Neil Sean, he said, I told Neil, he said, man, you are frustrating as hell. He said, because you're so damn creative coming up with all this shit, and I'm trying my damnedest to keep up with the first thing you did, and then you pull a second one out of God knows where.
I can imagine Sammy
Hagar, when he, who's worked with Eddie Van Halen and Robbie Montrose and some other good players over the years, when he says that shit about you, you might want to take some notice.
Well, Satriani as well, right? Isn't Chickenfoot?
Oh, yeah.
I would say Sammy's up there and probably some of my top.
Yeah. But
that's someone else I actually got to see in concert. It was Sammy Hagar and his band fronting for Boston. And this was in a little bitty piece of crap auditorium in Athens, Georgia, with really horrible acoustics.
Stegman Coliseum?
Exactly the one. The basketball. Yeah, the basketball venue. And, okay, Sammy Hagar came up there and basically he blew Boston out of the fucking water. I mean, he was doing things that no one realized a guitar could do. And then Boston comes on as the headliner act, and they go, okay, let's just play the catalog. And they did, and it was wonderful, but still, Sammy went full, not Terminator, but probably a full-scale Optimus Prime on them.
When I saw him,
he owned that stage that night.
Well,
but you got to see Brad Dill.
He was just he was just having fun, and that was what made that concert so
Yeah.
good when he was with the Circle. Like I said,
Well-
it was Mark Anthony and Jason Bonham on drums. Jeez.
Yep.
Hey,
Mark
hey,
Anthony
same
and
thing,
Jason
same
Bonham
thing.
on drums.
Yeah,
But-
and he was just having fun on the stage, and that's what made it a fun concert.
Yeah. Like I said, I can't really nail it down, but I will tell you one of my favorite, I think, underappreciated and underrated bands of the 80s, Rob, is Dokken. They had some really well-crafted songs. The problem is, a lot of them dealt with breakups and bad moments in relationships, and not everybody wants to hear that crap.
Okay, if I may do a mini rant for a second.
Okay.
I'm
Go
a
for
big,
it.
like I said, big 80s rock guy.
Mhm.
I absolutely, the term hair metal, I never use that term. To me, that, that's a derogatory term that the journalists basically came up with to put down 80s hard rock bands, basically. Glam metal's fine, 80s hard rock is fine, but, hair metal, this derogatory in my book. But Dokken is one of those bands that really unfairly, I guess because they had hair, is considered hair metal. But that's just not the case. They were just a strong melodic hard rock band.
And you're not the first person that said that. My significant other, his best friend, and they've said the same thing. They're not hair metal, but they were around that same time period. So
everybody had hair in the 80s.
It was a convenient label,
even Carl,
for critics to
jealous
put people in
a little bit.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh,
look at
these
Richard
people are
Marx.
good, but we're not going to admit it. We're going to put them down.
But then you turn around and you look at Whitesnake, and you look back at what he was doing in the 70s compared to the 80s. And the 70s, that bluesy sound he had in the 70s after he was done with what's its name? Help me out here.
Richard Blackmore.
No, well,
because he was in Deep Purple for a short time.
Hey, yeah. Well,
so after he was in Deep Purple, but before the 80s hit, when he did oh God, what are some of those? I get them stuck in my head all the time.
Well, some of the songs that he did on their 87 album that went multi-platinum were reworked from bluesier versions of it from earlier releases.
Oh, he's got such a good voice, too.
Like a hobo.
Oh, yeah.
Like a hobo instead of like a drifter. But yeah, it was, we had a summer where we listened, the three of us listened to as much stuff we could find from David Coverdale between all of everything. And we named it the Summer of Deep White Purple Snake.
This is why I love you, Dawn.
It was the Summer of Deep White Purple Snake, and it culminated at the end that it was the Jason Bonham Experience or Evening was opening the first, and the second band was Whitesnake, and then it was Foreigner. We saw him down in St. Louis, and that was like the absolute best show we'd ever seen. And it kind of goes back to the
awesome.
Kind of goes back to what you guys were saying about the Leonard Skinner now being a cover band. Well, that's basically what Foreigner started out as a super group, anyways. But Kelly's been with them for what, almost 30 years now.
Yeah, that's quite a tenure.
So it's like,
well, and the thing is, him and Jeff Pilson both brought some new life and energy to that band. Because I know a lot of people didn't like the heavy synth version of Say You Will, but Jeff liked the song, and he reworked it into an acoustic version that a lot of people were like, damn. And they needed somebody of Kelly's stature that could take on that lead singer role and draw the audience in.
Oh, that was a hell of a show. Oh,
yeah.
I have to gotta say that
fun too.
And I would say that would we were at an amphitheater, Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. The temperature, the weather was beyond gorgeous that night. It was like 70, 75 degrees with a light breeze. And,
Oh,
you
that's
know, it was
perfect.
like, yeah. And so afterwards, we stayed at the Hollywood Casino
Mhm.
and they had a shuttle. So we went back there and there was an acoustic band playing on the patio. And we had a couple more drinks before. And it was just that entire, the music was so good and the venue was so good and everything was so perfect. And that is what made that even just like the absolute best concert.
Sounds good.
Now,
I-
the best concert I ever went to, Rob,
Mm-hmm.
was called Volunteers for America. They did 2 shows back to back. One was Saturday and one was Sunday. They did one in Dallas and they did one in Atlanta. I went to the one in Atlanta. Oh, bear with me as I try and remember all these. Started out with Tommy Shaw's All-Star Band.
Mm-hmm.
Then they had Mark Farner of Grand Funk Railroad.
yes,
Then
indeed.
they had John Waite.
I'm not familiar with that one. Who was?
John Waite sang "Missing You." I'm sure you've heard that. And
Okay.
he was with the Babies too.
He's one of those people that write really, really, really good songs, but didn't get as much exposure as he should have, and is not as familiar with people
Um,
as
Tom
he
Waits.
should have been. He earned that, but didn't get it.
Got it.
REO Speedwagon,
Mm.
Bad Company with Paul Rogers,
Ah.
Styx, Journey,
Oh, there you go.
Leonard Skinner, ZZ Top.
That's a pretty good show right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um.
I bought 8 tickets to that thing and I could not find one friend wanted to go with me.
You didn't
Wow.
ask me.
I
He
didn't know you.
didn't know you then.
I'll say you might
But
need some new friends.
This concert was to benefit victims of 9/11's families.
Right.
Mm.
So they were raising money. Drew Carey emceed the event, and they had some local girl sing the national anthem. She did a killer job of it. They could have gotten, because I think Night Ranger was there too, and they could have gotten. Ted Nugent was there.
Mm-hmm.
They could have gotten damn Yankees together
Mm.
if they wanted to. And the thing about John Waite is he originally started out in the Babies. They had a couple of fairly popular songs. One of them was "Every Time I Think of You," and I can't think of the other one at the moment. But anyway, the Babies keyboard player Jonathan Cain eventually joined Journey when Greg Raleigh left, because Greg Raleigh wanted to start a family and he was getting tired of touring all the time. Well, with the stuff going on with Steve Perry not kind of wanting to do something else and more or less leaving Journey in '87, Jonathan Cain and Neil Sean played with various people. If you ever saw the video for Michael Bolton sitting on the dock of Bay, they're both playing in the band there.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, a little later on, they formed Bad English.
That's what I was just like, John Waite, wasn't he the singer from Bad English? I had just looked it up.
Bad English had Dean Castronovo, who's the current drummer of Journey, had Ricky Phillips from the Babies, and Neil Sean and Jonathan Cain from Journey, and John Waite. They sang that sappy Diane Warren written song, "When I See You Smile."
Mm-hmm. That's why I knew it. I'm a chick.
But they had some rockers too. Forget Me Not is pretty awesome. Anyway, Neil Sean was also in Hardline, which was Johnny and Joey Gioeli's band, and they kept begging him. Dean Castronova was in that band, and he actually performed in Hardline before he did Bad English, I think. So that's where they got Dean Castronova from.
Do you know Revolution Saints then?
Yes, I love Revolution Saints.
Killer.
Can't Turn Back Time, Tug Aldrich. Now, Jack Blades wasn't on their newest album. Jeff Pilson is.
Pilson wasn't on the first album then?
No, Jack Blades and they both sang.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And Dean sounds more like.
Oh, he's got a great voice.
He sounds more like Steve Perry than
Steve Perry.
Arnell does. And oh man, if you ever see the version of the live version of Dean playing drums and singing Mother Father. Oh my, that song has got one of the most awesome drum solos in it. And he's singing Steve Perry while he's doing this stuff.
That's tough. I mean, that is.
It is extremely.
Yeah. Now, Chris has got the advantage of me. I've only been to a limited number of concerts in my time, and most of those were late 70s, early 80s. First one I ever went to was senior night at Six Flags Over Georgia.
Southern Star Amphitheater.
And you know what was the result of all the senior class members of Northeast Georgia voting on the person they most want to hear?
What year was this? I'll try to guess.
1975.
75. Who they most want to hear?
It was Chuck Berry.
Wow. Okay. Wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, well, I wasn't even in the realm of thought.
Yeah, I was trying to think pop people. I was like, was Andy Gibb around at that point yet? But no,
These folks voted, and it's like 50, 60 different high schools all sent their seniors there, and we got to see Chuck Berry perform.
That
And
would be cool.
I was within about, let's see, if there had been floor seats, I would have been about 5th row.
Wow.
I could just about reach out and touch the stage, except there was some pretty girl in front of me that would not let me get any closer. And she got annoyed because I tried. But, I mean, here we go. This is 1975 senior class all over Northeast Georgia in Six Flags going, oh, yeah, we want to hear My Ding-a-ling, okay? And Chuck Berry goes, let me clear this with the management. And it happened. And we all sang along. And
you never had heard it, right?
I had heard it several times, but I'm an
I
old
know
guy.
I rolled my eyes with that, Dan. Like, you've never heard it.
Yeah, really. I think the next thing that I went to was either Yes and Donovan at the Omni, which no longer exists.
Yeah,
I saw my first concert there.
Emerson, Lake and Palmer. And I was oh God, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. I had 10th row floor seats because some really good friends of mine, you know, when everybody pulls out their big lighters and goes, "Hey,
Mhm.
Uncle." Keith Emerson looked me in the eye because I was the only one that actually had a lightsaber instead of a big lighter. He goes,
Fantastic.
"Oh, okay, we're doing this one just for you."
Mhm.
And then they proceeded to do Carnival
Mhm.
9. Um, uh, who else did I get to see?
Wait,
Um,
my first concert, Metallica '92 at the Omni.
Mhm. Well, my first concert and only
I'm
concert at
impressed.
the Omni had Suicidal Tendencies as the opening act.
Was it Megadeth?
Queensryche
Queensryche. Okay.
Empire tour or Operation Mindcrime tour. I don't know if they released Empire then. I might have done some songs from Empire, but they did most of the Operation Mindcrime and a few other songs. I had never seen so many women in tight black leather in one place at one time.
You've never been shopping at
At Dan's house, apparently.
no. At one of the nearby grocery stores, there was a young lady I knew
Mhm,
that her favorite thing to do was to go to the local Winn-Dixie,
mhm,
which is a 24-hour at about 3 in the morning, and she's wearing basically the same thing that one of the ladies from um, the Avengers, not the movie, but the TV
Emma Peel.
series. Oh yes, the Emma Peel cat suit in black leather with high heels, and she's walking around in a grocery store at 3 a.m.
I mean, who hasn't done that? I mean,
Well, I've never put on the cat suit before, but I've
me
been to
either.
several grocery stores at 3 a.m. and I'm going, if I had seen this, I probably would have had a very different childhood than I did. But
Well,
no,
Dan, there were about 1,000 women dressed in tight black leather there, if not more.
I do believe I would have been in heaven.
Yep.
Or
Yeah.
straight to hell.
Or
Yeah,
both.
I saw
Um,
Queensryche as well at that. I forget the name of it. It was outside of Atlanta, the outdoor amphitheater,
Lakewood.
Lakewood. Yeah, I saw Queensryche there.
Yeah.
yep,
Well,
Saw Ozzy there too.
there's nothing like seeing them in an arena where all that's, and this was back when Chris DeGarmo was still with the band and Jeff hadn't lost his voice.
this is where I have to bow to Chris because I have a very, very limited concert experience because I'm I was and still am a very shy person, and I had to be drug out
Mhm.
to go to places. And I had some very, very good friends that would, you know, include me in their plans and take me out to these places. Now, no, the Adamant concert, that was entirely my idea. Adamant and the Romantics.
Hey, Dan,
Um, yes.
before I forget, I sent something in the group chat
Oh,
for you to share about
okay.
the indie CD org stuff.
I don't see a damn thing.
It's,
I'm
it's
sorry.
it's in the link chat. I was hoping you could share it from it. I don't know if you can or not.
I can't because I don't see it. That would be
It was
That
sent
would be
27 minutes ago.
what, Messenger?
Yep.
Okay. Nope. Only thing I see is the link I sent to Rob for this show.
Okay. Well,
Let me
like I said,
see.
it's in the chat with everybody, but nobody's seen it
No.
yet. So
okay. Well, that's
Um,
we were talking about Joe Bachman earlier. That's indiecd.org. That's his site for independent creators in their directory. So
Yeah, and for some strange reason, they even included me in that, and I don't know why, but
Well,
I'm complimented. Um,
I am fortunate. I got to see both versions of Bad Company. I got to see the Brian Howe version with Damn Yankees, which was the first time I ever got checked for weapons. Because I believe Uncle Ted was worried somebody might be a little bit crazier than he was.
Not only that would that be very,
gotta
very
watch out for
difficult to
those.
do, but the the fact that somebody had to check you for weapons.
Well, you gotta watch out for
Me,
them
yeah, I would
Teds.
understand that, but not you. I mean, seriously. Um,
But anyway, Bad Company with Brian Howe, I really liked that band. I know they didn't get along that great, but they had some really good songs. And like I said, I got to see Paul Rogers with them at
oh yeah, that
that
would have been
concert.
dreamy.
So I got the best of both worlds.
Well,
folks,
Rob,
I hate
It's a good
to.
Van Halen album.
I got top secret clown business to take care of, so I need to hit
I was
that
gonna say,
dusty trail.
I
Yeah,
was just
we're
realizing what
running
time
over.
it is.
yeah,
But-
we're already over the limit. Rob, thank you very much for being here.
Well, thanks for having me.
Please,
Yep.
please, please do come back again.
I
Yep.
will.
Join
I will.
again.
We enjoyed having you. Sorry we went down the music rabbit hole. I tend to do that.
It's
Hey,
one of my favorite rabbit holes to hang out in.
Well, this
yeah.
rabbit hole seems to go there a lot.
When me and Dan are around, yeah.
When Chris and I get together, music is usually the topic du jour. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing.
I have added to your music conversations before.
Yes.
You added
we
to them?
appreciate that.
One of these days, we're going to have to write something for you, Dawn. Ooh, did you see those eyebrows go up? I'm in deep doo-doo now.
You
Nice,
interest
you
her
can-
strangely, Dan.
Oh, yes. Was that what you thought? You interested me. Never mind. I can't say that. You got me tongue tied now.
Madam, you interest me strangely. Yeah.
All right, Rob, it's great meeting you. Hope to see you
You
again.
Yes, it was nice meeting. Yes,
you too.
definitely.
You as well.
Yeah, please do come back. You
Will
are
do.
welcome anytime.
Thank you much.
Go good, guys.
Figure this.
Good night.
And thank you both for being here. And this was exceptional. I really enjoyed this. I really do. Of course,
It's a
my
very
hair
good-
looks like shit, but you know.
I think what I was able to make it through tonight was because I could come out on the couch, which is more comfortable than an office chair.
Yeah.
Well,
But it's just harder to do interacting with taping and stuff like that out here.
Yeah. But
being
you
in an
try to
office
do
chair,
things.
I can relate, but I think Chris put it best. Let's bring this one to a close before Joe Dog goes. I'm jealous. I'm going to do a 5-hour program tomorrow, and hey, it's
Joe Dog ain't got
happened
enough
before.
energy to do 5 hours.
It wasn't Joe Dog. It wasn't Joe Dog that
Not
decided
the
I
green
needed to be
room,
one upped, but
Chris, not the green room.
it will be tomorrow though.
Yep.
Yes, it will be.
If we get any sleep between now and then.
Oh, I'm planning on getting
Oh.
some sleep.
I was going to say, yeah, me too.
All right. Well,
Good night,
love you
gentlemen.
both.
Yep.
Thank you
Love
for
you both
being
too.
here. We have
Yes.
You take care.
done amazing things tonight, and we have gained a new victim.
Sucker.
Oh no,
Good night.
Rob's really great. He really is. I'm glad he finally showed up.
Yep.
I've been inviting him for a long time, but let's just wait a minute. Where's that damn? There's the thing. No, not the intro, the outro.
Go good, guys.
See y'all tomorrow. Oh, dear.
Transmission overload.
System will shut down. System will shut down. System will shut down. System will shut down.
Transmission overload.
System will shut down. System will shut down. System will shut down.